It is a pleasure to be sitting here today with Mr. Nigel Drayton of the Nigel's Restaurant family here in Hanahan, and just want to sit down with you, Nigel. I'm very excited to talk with you today. Everything you got going on here, I'm a huge fan of the restaurant, man. The low country ravioli, you can't beat that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
So how long you been here in Bowen?
Be 2 years in November.
Okay, and what was the decision that led you? I mean, I know you was out there on Dorchester, right?
Ashley Phosphate and Ladson. I had 2 spots in Ladson. So coming over here was a decision I made after visiting the location, visiting the area, and it was brought to me that this was a growing area. I was anticipating the growth over here and looking forward to, meeting people and just, I felt that it was supply and demand.
Right.
So basically, I had a conversation with the developer, and he came over and he told me what his thoughts and plans were. We looked at models of how things was going to reenact, but somehow those things haven't been done.
Right.
So projected sales, I came over here thinking that it would be way more, and even with the aspect of having employees is like a ghost town over here right now. We can't find the help. That's one of the things. The customer base, so if you don't have the customers, you can't afford to pay for the help. Right. So it's basically nothing what I expected it to be over in this area.
Well, and that's wild because, again, I mean, huge fan of what you're doing here.
Right.
Nobody else is doing anything like that. We got our pizza shops,
right.
We got our, whatever, but actually bringing this type of soul food into town, I mean, this is unheard of.
And we wanted to bring something that home-cooked meals to the area. We wanted to bring something that we felt people grew up on. The meals, vegetables and hamburger steaks and things that stick to your ribs, So
it sure does. I can attest to that.
Right. So we thought it was, we thought it was the place to be. We thought it could compete with downtown, Somerville, Tanner, Nexton area. It has the space, it has the opportunity, but it's just the limitations of what is going on right now.
Well, let's think back to the beginning. If you look around you right now, and we're sitting right outside of Nigel's Restaurant here in Bowen, and you see these buildings, you see the Pier House over here, Channel Apartments over here. What's wild, man, is that by the time you moved in, what else has been built?
Nothing. It's almost like a standstill. It feels like I got caught right in the middle of it.
Kind of did.
Yeah, so it's like, whoa, what happened to the growth? And
right.
where all the people that were supposed to be over in this area? What happened to everybody being outside and the events? And, it's at times we don't get a customer that come out until 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
And this affects, the opening hours. We have to modify things, even with purchasing groceries. If we're buying stuff and we're not selling it, we got to get rid of that stuff.
Right.
So we're losing money left and right because enough people ain't over here to eat it.
Well, and I think you said supply and demand earlier, right? And when you talk about that, it's like more people equals more potential customers, which equals business growth, right? And so when you're sitting here and you're talking with a developer who says, I've got vested rights on this land, I've got approvals for all of these different things, and by the time this is all said and done, this community is going to be 3-4 times bigger than it is today. I mean, how do you look at that as a business owner?
Well, that's attractive. It's very attractive. It makes you want to come into the area, especially if there's no competition around.
Right.
You want to come there and you want to plant first. And that's what I thought it would be, a sowing a seed situation that the seed didn't get watered. So it limits the growth,
And how do you see that situation? I mean, given that you have, you're impacted by that so much, right? And I think that there's so many politics, we go back and forth on who caused what or why things aren't getting done. But as a business owner, I mean, how do you look at that?
Well, it's almost like it has old school values, which I understand, but at the same time, everything is susceptible to change. It has to be growth. Always everything around you is changing, is more modern, and people are growing. And I understand that keeping old values, which is great, but give people room to grow as well. Things ain't the 1970s or the 80s anymore, but you're trying to create, the people in the area are trying to create that.
Right.
You got kids that's growing up who could have a job in the neighborhood. Like I have the schools asking for sponsorships, but we can't afford to give sponsorships. We can't partner up with schools right now because we don't get the support. And we don't get the support because it ain't enough people around. You got people who are retiring around here who don't come out and eat as much.
Right.
On a fixed income.
Yeah.
You got people that's retired that rather go to the grocery store and cook their own meals.
Yeah.
Well, what about the people who want to go out to eat? If you go a block down the street, well, there's people out there eating and enjoying themselves. And yeah, I get it. You want to have a quiet neighborhood or whatsoever, but we're not a loud place. We just want to be able to make ends meet.
Right. Well, and I think there's this assumption that if you build apartments, it brings riffraff, it brings, loudness. And I'll tell you, man, I think one of the things I see, even with the events we're able to do, even with, the people, I can tell you, everybody on my street down there, we're all regulars at Nigel's. We're probably not, right? But at the same time, it's like, there's not enough of us.
Right. And that's the projections for me. And I based everything off of the projections. Yeah. And, the sad thing is, now it's like, am I going to achieve these goals? Anybody knows in the first 3 years of business, that tells you whether you're going to make it or not.
Exactly.
Right now, it's like, no, I'm not making it. It's like I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
And it's a sad situation because the area has so much potential.
It sure does.
And it's beautiful. This Tanner Plantation by itself is a beautiful area. People don't know about it.
Right.
It brings wealth to the community. Even if you're trying to hold on to something and not share it with the world, but you're not letting people know.
Right.
You're keeping it a secret, and that's
it's
not how.
I got mine.
Right.
And now you can't.
You can't have any of it. But that's not how the world is. There's room for everybody, and it is. I feel like I have a respectable business. We don't want to bring any clubs or riffraffs, as you said. We don't want to bring that to the area. We're a decent place. We offer good quality of whatever we do, but the limitations of even with the employees, finding the right employees, bringing customers in.
Yeah.
It's a very sad situation.
Sure. Well, again, we're sitting at about 1,300 people in a neighborhood that should have 4,000 to 5,000 people.
And that will make a big difference.
Because even if we can't all afford to go out to eat every night, if you quadruple the number of potential, it's going to trickle down.
If I can triple what I'm doing right now, I'll be okay.
Right.
If I was to be able to double what I was doing right now, then maybe I'll be able to live a little bit more stress-free.
Right.
But now, cut off.
Yeah.
It's just like standing there and all of a sudden everything just stops. It's at a halt. And that's not what I
see it, right? That building's been here since you've been here.
Right.
So all of those additional plans
And you got the commodities around here. You have the gym and you have the pool.
Yeah.
You have the outside area. What makes this different than downtown? Well, downtown, you have people coming from all over the area. There's not a stop to growth.
Right.
But over here it is. This is just as beautiful as downtown, if not better, in some areas. Yeah, this is no different than.
Right.
You're giving people opportunities to make a living.
The difference is that those places, like downtown, they're sharing the wealth. They're litting the growth.
They understand economically what it means to be able to be fruitful and multiply. Over here, being a businessman, stunt of growth doesn't do anything for anybody.
Well, and I think that's the thing. I mean, there's always people that are saying, oh, rich developer can't build, right? And way I think about it is that there is downstream effects from stopping those things and saying, okay, well, you can't build over here because we don't want you to. Okay, well, what about the small businesses, right? And like you just mentioned, there's small businesses up and down the block we're sitting on right now. Think about their bottom line, right?
Yeah.
Even Brew does well as a coffee shop next door, but at the same time, don't you think they probably wish if they had 3 or 4 times the more people in the immediate area?
For my neighbor next to me to be as unique as they are, it should be lines outside the door.
No kidding. Yeah.
Right. Being just sitting here over a year, sitting there looking at the area. It's not attractive to not invite other people to be able to talk and kind of socialize.
Right.
At some point, it feels like the only perks over here is just people who over here know each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's almost like this for strangers. Is like,
yeah, right.
And it's like, you know, people. And granted, people invited me when I came in. You know, when I first opened, but there's a limit to that. In the beginning, everybody was like, "Hey, we're gonna come support." But how many of the regular people can help you succeed? Right. You're talking about 30 people out of a whole community. When you can invite more into the community to where they're patronizing these businesses and helping them thrive. Right now, there's no thriving, it's just maintaining of that.
Well, and I think the wild thing is, and I've always wondered your perspective even before we decided to sit down and do this talk, but your perspective on the fact that, you know, those things when the developer was talking to you about opening up shop here,
right,
those were approved plants. Right, those had been previously approved by the city, and then there was a shift a couple years ago to where they started saying, no, actually, we didn't mean it, right, and started pulling the rug back and saying, I mean, I'll tell you, Nigel, I live down the street here, and I've been looking at a dirt pit for 18 months,
right,
because the plan was approved, and then they yanked it out from under them.
Well, that hurts me and my business, because those are the things that I looked at before even opening the business.
Right.
You know, 2 years ago that happened, but 2 years prior to that, you know, I was in the beginnings of building.
Right.
So if I'm building, I'm looking at all of this area that's being started. The construction is starting. Well, I'm excited about that because I'm feeling like by the time I get in there, I'm early enough to where I'm going to grow with the community. Well, my growth got stunned.
Well, like the 80 apartments that are supposed to be where you're looking right
now.
That other building right there, that was approved a long time ago. And so for it to be pulled back, you know, they say in business, one of the biggest things is certainty. You want to be certain that the decisions you are making are going to bear fruit. Exactly. So when you look at a plan and you say, this is what I'm going to base my business on, it's just not fair.
It was a part of the plan. My business, the whole business was a part of the plan. Yeah. And it got yanked from under me. And now I'm stuck with a responsibility.
Right.
I'm barely making it.
Well, see, these are the stories that people need to hear, because they think about, oh, the developer. They think about, oh, you know, he's not able to build his apartments or whatever, but they're not thinking through. And I know this because I talk to folks out there. They're not thinking through the downstream effects of this.
Right.
And this is very real for you every day.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I deal with it. Yeah. You know, the developer has nothing to do with the open business. Right. You know, the business that was promised that we would see a flow of people that's through here, traffic every day. And that's just, and it don't have to necessarily be a car. It can be walking traffic.
Right.
You know, the opportunities for jobs, you know, that's been yanked off. If you have things in one spot and you have a community around there, that means they don't have to go out into traffic to get to the things that they want.
I say that all the time. People don't get that, though.
Right. Like, if I got a cheeseburger, a pizza, and taco in one spot, why would I travel someplace else to get it?
Right.
But the argument I've been hearing is more people brings on more traffic. Not if you centralize things, if you put things in the areas to where it's walking distance.
Right.
Well, if you stop in that, then yeah, even the people that's in there it's gonna happen.
They're gonna be driving.
Kids are getting older.
True.
They're gonna get a car.
Right.
You got kids who getting older who's gonna create their own families. And what's gonna happen? You're still gonna get the traffic.
Right.
So
I'm sure you've seen this online, like on Facebook and stuff, but people will say Charleston's full.
Right.
You hear all the time, Charleston's full. And okay, sure. But let me riddle you this. So you're telling me that if you stop building apartments, the people are just going to magically stop coming?
Right.
I don't think that's the case, man.
Charleston Hanahan is empty. There's so much walking. You can look around right now. It looks like a ghost town.
Yeah.
And what are you preserving?
Right.
You don't want people to walk on the lawn. You don't want them to walk down the street. You're keeping out who? Who is that aimed for?
Right.
Who you aiming for? Like,
I don't know if you saw this last November, kind of around the election time. These yard signs started going up all over Tanner Plantation here, and they said, 5-year building moratorium, no new apartments, protect our children.
What does that mean?
Good question.
I mean, because it has to be aimed toward a specific idea of a person.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you protecting them from?
I guess people who rent.
You're going to meet people no matter what.
Yeah.
You're going to run into people of all shapes, colors, sizes. It don't matter. But who are you protecting them from?
Right. Well, no, it's funny. I went to a city council meeting in December of last year, and I got up there and I said, I'm a renter. I said, I'm the danger.
Right.
I'm attack your children because I pay rent instead of a mortgage.
Right. But I would think that somebody who pays rent wouldn't want to attack your children.
Right.
Because they have a responsibility. If you have a bunch of responsible people around and you're socializing, you're meeting this person and getting to know this person, because believe me, not allowing people to live somewhere isn't going to stop any crimes or anything. People actually scout out places
right.
that they think they can come into, and you're not doing anything by trying to hold them off.
No, and I mean,
you're getting people more curious.
I mean, just to rent an apartment here, you got to make 3 times as
Right.
much as the rent monthly.
Right.
You got to have a good credit score. You got to have a clean background. So the idea that these people are unvetted and we're letting in criminals, I just think it's rooted in something bad.
It's funny. It's just crazy because it's a stereotype.
It is.
And they're getting away with creating these statements of who a person is.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's based off you creating your own propaganda.
Yeah.
For your own benefits.
What would be your message, considering that, I mean, we're talking about plans that were approved, plans that people were excited about, that had been in progress for almost 2 decades. This place had been a vision. And now it's starting to come to reality, but it's been stifled, like you said. Right. What is your message to the people doing the stifling?
Stop. Stop what you're doing. Understand, this is hurting businesses, and some of the people I felt were very supportive for my business to come over.
Yeah.
And now you're saying, hey, I don't want you to, we don't want more people there. And I'm like, well, without us having more people, we're stuck. I'm stuck, and I'm stuck in a business that I'm struggling to even get off the ground. And it's absurd to me.
Yeah.
Because it should be, just like I said, there should be lines outside of the door for all of the businesses here.
Right.
This should have with this gym membership over there. People should be in there.
Yeah.
You got chiropractors over here.
Right.
And everything that's already been over here is it has dignity.
Yeah.
So if it has dignity and it speaks dignity to you, then it should tell you what kind of customers that is being aimed for.
It's a community that's proud.
Right. So if you, and I take pride in being in this area. It's a beautiful building.
It is.
It's not run down. Nothing is run down. Everything is upkept. And it's sad to see that we can't see the potential is there, but we can't see what it can become.
Right.
Because of the hope.
For whatever reason. Right?
For whatever reason
Yeah.
it is.
And I think, I'm just sitting here thinking, just in the time you've been here, there should be nearly 90 more apartments and at least 9 to 10 single-family homes that haven't been built.
Well, I can't say for sure how many apartments. I know I should see more customers.
Yeah.
And because they're not moving over here, just because we're over here, we should see more customers. People should walk in by accident than on purpose.
Yeah.
My first restaurants that I ever had, I always had a concept of putting them in shopping centers. And my theory with that would be is, well, you know what? If I in the same area, in the same shopping center as a grocery store, people will come in by accident and see what we have to offer than me having to be a standalone.
Hey, that was my first time at Nigel's. I was at the grocery store.
And having to bait people in.
Right.
So in the same idea applied over here with all of these neighbors
Right.
that I felt that we should have had, you know, if we got all these people in this neighborhood and walk around, somebody's going to come in.
True.
But it's not happening because if you look around, ain't nobody walking around. There's nobody here.
Not nearly as many as there should be, at least, right? And I'll tell you this, Nigel. I'll do it one more time. Let me just put my stamp of approval. You had an amazing restaurant in there.
Well,
come down, try the Geechee wings. They are out of this world. And fried pork chop is my other favorite.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. This has been Nigel Drayton of the Nigel's Restaurant sitting down with me today. I just appreciate your time, and we're going to keep fighting to get done what we're supposed to get done over here so that you can have a thriving business, we can have a thriving community, something we're all very proud of. So thank you again for your time today, sir.
No problem. Sounds good to me.
All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.